What if I told you that your future isn't waiting to happen? It's being shaped right now, silently, invisibly, by the thoughts you think and the laws you don't even realize you're obeying. What if every emotion, every passing idea, every story you repeat in your mind is quietly constructing the world you'll wake up to tomorrow? Most people wander through life assuming things just happen. But what if nothing happens by chance? What if everything, absolutely everything, is a mirror, reflecting not just what you see, but who you are? There is a code beneath reality. Not a digital code, not a secret conspiracy. Something deeper. A set of principles as old as time, governing the way energy moves, how thoughts turn to matter, how cause becomes effect. These are the universal laws, not laws written in books, but laws etched into the fabric of existence. And your thoughts, they are the instructions being fed into that system. Every moment, with every choice, you are programming your future. The question is, do you know what you're programming? Most people don't. They think a thought is harmless, just a flicker. But your thoughts are frequencies, broadcasts. They radiate out from you, unseen but felt. The universe is not judging those signals, it is responding. With precision, with neutrality, with perfection. You're not punished for your thoughts, you're shaped by them. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And what you are is largely the result of what you repeatedly think. The law of mentalism is the first of the Hermetic principles. It says that all is mind. Reality is mental. Everything begins as a thought. Not just human inventions, but experiences, patterns, circumstances. Nothing exists in your life that wasn't first imagined, believed, or focused upon. Your mind is the projector. The world is the screen. But here's the twist. Most people don't realize they're holding the projector. They keep trying to fix the screen. You don't change a movie by painting over the screen. You change the film. But changing your thoughts isn't just about thinking positive. That's surface level. True transformation requires awareness. Why do you think what you think? Whose voice are you hearing? Your own, or an echo from childhood, society, fear? The real shift begins when you observe your thoughts instead of becoming them. When you start to question the automatic scripts. When silence becomes your teacher. The law of vibration states that everything is energy, vibrating at a frequency. Your thoughts carry a vibration, so do your emotions. And the universe, like a great cosmic tuning fork, matches your frequency. If you live in fear, you attract more fear. If you live in gratitude, you attract more to be grateful for. It doesn't mean you're to blame for every pain you felt. It means you have more power than you've been told. Power to shift, to align, to resonate differently. So why do we keep replaying the same patterns? Because repetition is programming. Your subconscious mind, which governs 95% of your behavior, doesn't respond to logic. It responds to repetition, emotion, and belief. If you wake up each day thinking, "I'm stuck, nothing works," you are not just describing your life, you are commanding your future. Your brain forms neural pathways around the familiar. The familiar becomes your identity, and identity becomes destiny, but identity can be rewritten. That's the alchemy. The law of correspondence says, as within, so without. Your outer world reflects your inner world. If you want different results, you don't fight the external, you heal the internal. You question the roots of your beliefs. Where did you learn what's possible for you? Who told you what success means? What if everything you've been told was based on someone else's limitation? The most powerful question you can ask is not, how do I fix my life? What am I unconsciously agreeing to? Because agreement is powerful. Every thought you don't challenge becomes a contract. This is just how it is. I guess I'm not meant for more. These silent agreements shape your energetic blueprint. The universe isn't biased. It reflects your signal. And your signal is built on those agreements. So how do you change it? You start by becoming still. Not by efforting, not by forcing affirmations you don't believe. You go deeper. You sit with silence long enough to hear your real self beneath the noise. You ask, what does my soul know that my mind has forgotten? That's when the shift begins. Not outside, inside. And from there, everything external begins to realign. The law of cause and effect teaches that every action has a reaction. But thoughts are actions too. They're energetic movements. What you think today plants a seed. That seed may take time to sprout, but it will. You're never just having a thought. You're sowing your future. The universe is not random. It's responsive. And when you understand that, you stop feeling like a victim of life and start becoming a conscious creator. Conscious creation doesn't mean controlling everything. It means aligning with the natural flow of the laws. You don't have to force outcomes when you're in alignment. That's the secret. The river doesn't need to push, it flows. And when your thoughts, beliefs, and energy are coherent, life begins to unfold with synchronicity. You meet the right person. The opportunity appears. Not because you chased it, but because you matched it. This is not magic. It's not wishful thinking. It's law. You've already seen it in your life, the moments when you just knew something would happen, and it did. The days where your energy was off and everything went wrong. These are not coincidences. They're reflections, patterns. And the more aware you become, the more patterns you begin to see. But awareness is not enough. You have to act differently, speak differently, think differently. Your words carry vibration too. When you say, I can't, it's too late, I'm stuck. You're casting energetic spells, reinforcing limits. What if you paused before speaking? What if you questioned every I am that followed your name? I am is the most powerful phrase you can ever use. Because whatever you put after it, your mind begins to believe and your world begins to create. I am unworthy. I am broken. I am lost. Or I am healing. I am enough. I am ready. The shift begins in language, in silence, in what you choose to affirm or deny in yourself. You are not your past. You are not your trauma. You are not your mistakes. You are the awareness behind all of it. And that awareness has power. Creative power. Transformational power. Not to erase the past, but to reframe it, to mine the pain for wisdom, to turn wounds into gateways, to let every scar become a reminder. I survived. I saw. I changed. Change is not reserved for the chosen few. It's not about privilege or luck or timing. It's about awareness, energy, and alignment. The moment you begin to think differently, even slightly, your reality starts to adjust. Not because the world outside has changed, but because your lens has. The same sun rises, but now you notice it. The same opportunities exist, but now you're open to them. The universe didn't withhold, you simply weren't attuned to receive. Attunement is everything. Imagine a radio with 1,000 stations. You can only hear the one you're tuned to. Not because the others don't exist, but because your frequency doesn't match. Life works the same way. If you're tuned to lack, you miss abundance. If you're tuned to fear, you miss love. The station is already broadcasting. The question is, can you receive it? You don't need to fight the old frequency. You only need to choose a new one. But choosing means practice, attention, consciousness. You must train the mind the way a musician trains the ear, by noticing subtleties. The thought that says, "This won't work," isn't harmless. It's a pattern, a program, and unless you notice it, you'll run it again and again and again. That's the hidden danger of the unconscious mind. It's not malicious, it's just efficient. It wants to save energy, so it gives you the same thoughts you had yesterday. It assumes familiarity equals safety. But comfort is not the same as truth. Sometimes the most dangerous thought is the one that feels normal. The one that says, "This is just who I am." No, this is who you've been, because that's who you kept choosing to be. You are not stuck. You are practiced, but practice can be changed. Slowly, gently, daily. The law of rhythm says everything moves in cycles, up and down, light and dark, expansion and contraction. Don't mistake a low phase as the end, it's a rhythm. But here's the key. Awareness lets you ride the wave instead of being drowned by it. When you understand rhythm, you stop fearing the dip. You know it's part of the process. You stop reacting and you start responding. Responding is power. Reacting is programming. The space between stimulus and response is where freedom lives. It's where choice lives. And choice is the bridge between thought and creation. Each choice aligns you closer or further from the life you desire. Each choice carries weight, even the invisible ones. The choice to believe in yourself, to sit in silence instead of noise, to hold a vision when everything around you contradicts it. That's the inner work. That's the spiritual discipline. The law of polarity reminds us that opposites are two ends of the same truth. Joy and sorrow, hope and despair, success and failure. They are not enemies, they are mirrors. You cannot know light without darkness. You cannot become whole by rejecting one side. Integration is the path. Wholeness is not perfection. It's presence. It's the willingness to see all parts of yourself without turning away. When you embrace both ends of the polarity, you transcend them. And when you transcend, something unlocks. Your perception changes. The same world looks different. The same struggle now holds meaning. The same failure now becomes feedback. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" The world doesn't change, but your relationship to it does. And that, in turn, changes everything. The law of gender tells us that all things have masculine and feminine principles, not gender in the human sense, but as energies. Masculine is direction, intention, doing. Feminine is receiving, feeling, being. Creation needs both. Thought is masculine. Belief is feminine. When the two merge, manifestation begins. But if you only push without faith, without surrender, you block the flow. If you only wait, without action, without vision, you drift. Balance is key, not just in action, but in being. Can you pursue a goal without needing it to validate you? Can you envision a future while remaining grounded in the now? Can you hold desire with detachment? These are the paradoxes the universe responds to. When you align thought, emotion, and energy, the outer world bends. And sometimes it bends in ways you don't expect. The path opens, but not how you planned. You lose what you thought you needed. You're guided away from something that felt certain. But if your inner world is steady, you don't panic. You listen. You trust. Because you've learned that the universe speaks in silence and synchronicity. That what seems like a detour is often direction. That the delay is not denial, it's preparation. Preparation for what? For the version of you who can receive what you asked for. The version of you who no longer sabotages with doubt, who no longer clings to the past. who no longer compromises soul for safety. That version is being built every time you choose the higher thought, every time you pause before reacting, every time you say no to the old self and yes to the unknown. The unknown is not your enemy. It is your invitation. Most people fear uncertainty because they've confused control with safety. But control is rigid. It resists life. The river flows, not because it forces, but because it follows its nature. You are meant to flow. That doesn't mean passive surrender. It means conscious alignment. Letting go of what no longer matches your vibration and trusting that what is truly for you cannot miss you. What happens when you live this way? You begin to feel lighter, not because life gets easier, but because you are no longer in resistance. You stop trying to bend the world into your old expectations. You start participating in your becoming. You wake up differently, not rushing to fix, to solve, to achieve, but present, available, aware. And in that awareness, life begins to reveal itself: signs, symbols, gut feelings, strange coincidences. These are not random, they are language. The universe is not silent, it's symbolic. And when your thoughts align with the laws, you start to hear it. You realize you're not alone. You never were. You're connected to a field of intelligence so vast it would take your breath away. A field that responds to the quiet courage of choosing a new thought, of releasing the old identity, of becoming something deeper, truer, freer. Your future is not written in stone. It's written in energy. Every choice, every thought, every belief is carving it. The more conscious you become, the clearer it gets. This is not about control. It's about coherence. Your inner world and outer reality becoming mirrors of one another. Not by accident, but by alignment. You're not here to suffer through life and hope for scraps of joy. You're here to awaken, to remember, to create. Not through hustle or manipulation, but through energy and truth. The old way was force. The new way is frequency. What you feel becomes your field. What you believe becomes your life. But belief is not passive. It is a choice repeated daily, a muscle built in silence. You will not always feel it. That's okay. You don't have to feel perfect. You only have to stay open, open to possibility, open to your own potential, open to the idea that maybe, just maybe, your thoughts are sacred, that they are not small, random things, but keys, blueprints, magic spells dressed as language. Every moment you are casting spells with your focus. The spell of worry, the spell of doubt, the spell of unworthiness, or the spell of trust, of vision, of becoming. The universe doesn't need you to be perfect. It only needs you to be intentional. You can't stop thinking, but you can become conscious of what you're thinking. That's where the shift happens. That's where power begins. Power doesn't look like force. It doesn't shout. It doesn't need to prove itself. Real power is quiet, grounded. It is knowing, not hoping. It is stillness, not struggle. And when your thoughts align with truth, that power begins to radiate from you. You walk differently. You speak differently. You become a lighthouse, not chasing anything, but drawing everything that matches your frequency. Your frequency is your currency. Not the money you make, but the energy you carry. People feel it. Opportunities respond to it. Life organizes itself around it. If you think thoughts of fear, you emit scarcity. If you think thoughts of truth, you emit clarity. That clarity becomes magnetism. And magnetism changes everything. Because here's what no one tells you: when you stop trying to get and start becoming, things come. Not because you begged for them, but because they belong to the version of you you're becoming. It was never about chasing. It was always about aligning. Your future is already waiting. But only the real you can step into it. So who are you becoming? That's the question the universe keeps asking. Not what do you want, but who do you need to be to hold it? Wanting is easy. Becoming is sacred. Becoming takes presence, patience, a willingness to feel uncomfortable. Because transformation is not always gentle. Sometimes it strips you. It burns away the masks, the identities, the comfort, so that the truth underneath can finally breathe, but it's always worth it. The old self was never real. It was constructed piece by fear, by history, by repetition. But you are not history. You are not repetition. You are consciousness, and consciousness is fluid, alive, capable of rewriting the entire story moment by moment. That's not fantasy. That's freedom. This is what the ancient mystics knew, that the kingdom is within, that the mind is the architect, that the soul whispers, but the noise must be quieted to hear it. So many are looking outside for signs, for validation, for salvation. But the treasure is within. It always was. The universal laws are not out there. They are reflections of your inner architecture. The law of attraction has been misunderstood. It's not about simply wanting something and receiving it. It's about resonance, integrity. You receive what you are congruent with. And if your internal world is fragmented, wanting one thing but believing another, desiring love but fearing vulnerability, the signal is scrambled. The response is distorted. Clarity sharpens the signal. Integrity strengthens it. When your thoughts, words, and actions are aligned, the laws respond faster, cleaner, and with astonishing precision. That's when life starts to feel like a dance, a conversation, a co-creation. You move, and life moves with you. You trust, and support appears. Not always in the form you expected, but always in the form you need. But don't be fooled. This path requires discipline, not the rigid, harsh kind, but the sacred kind. The discipline of attention, of inner hygiene, of tending to your thoughts the way a gardener tends to soil. What seeds are you planting? What are you watering with your attention? And what are you allowing to grow simply because it feels familiar? Familiar is not the same as aligned. Many people are trapped in cycles of chaos, not because they want it, but because it's what they know. But knowing is not destiny. You can know pain and still choose healing. You can know scarcity and still choose abundance. You can know betrayal and still choose trust. That's your superpower, choice. Over and over again, every day is a ritual. Not just the incense or the mantras, but the thoughts you repeat, the beliefs you rehearse, the energy you feed. Make it sacred, make it intentional. Speak as though the universe is listening, because it is. Act as though your future is already forming, because it is. Think as though your thoughts matter, because they do. No, it's not always immediate. Sometimes the seed must sit in darkness before it blooms, but growth is happening. Reality is rearranging. Keep going, keep believing. The laws are working. You are shifting. The changes may be invisible now, but they are real. Like gravity, like wind, like breath, unseen but undeniable, you are not broken. You are becoming. You are not late. You are right on time. You are not small. You are the thinker of thought, the holder of vision, the channel of infinite consciousness. The laws are not something you use. They are something you remember, something you embody, something you become. And when you live this way, something profound begins to happen. Life becomes less about reaction, more about revelation. Less about chasing goals, more about expressing truth. Less about fear, more about knowing. You begin to trust the unseen. You begin to speak from a deeper place. You stop needing so much proof and start living from presence. This is not theory. This is transformation. This is the real work. Not the performance of spirituality, but the integration of it. Can you love yourself in your shadows? Can you choose a higher thought when no one's watching? Can you sit in the stillness long enough to hear the voice beneath the noise? That voice, your inner knowing, is the compass, the guide, the real teacher. Follow it, even when it contradicts logic, even when it asks you to walk alone, even when it challenges everything you thought was true, because it will never lead you astray. It's not here to keep you comfortable. It's here to wake you up. And when you awaken, you remember that you are not separate, that you are not random, that nothing in your life is an accident. Every moment is a message. Every encounter is a mirror. Every thought is a seed. And every day, every single day, is a chance to begin again. So begin, not tomorrow, not when it's easy. Now. Breathe into this moment. Feel your presence. Notice your thoughts. Invite in something higher. Speak as the future self. Act as the healed self. Think as the aligned self. Because the laws are listening. The universe is responding, and your future is already unfolding.